Hi, this is Bob Pike, and welcome to another edition of Learning Leaders Live. And I have with me Alwyn Klein, who has been named CLO of the Year in South Africa. And Alwyn, this is a really big deal. So tell me about, what is it, and how did you happen to end up with it?
Yes, Bob. Very, very honored, very humbling experience. Essentially, the process is you need to get nominated. So at first, I had no idea I was even nominated. The team nominates you. They have to provide a lot of supporting
So
documentation.
your team nominated you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that says a lot right there.
Well, very humbling, very humbling. So, you have to be nominated. It's sponsored by two companies. One is one of the bigger, I think it's the second largest business school in South Africa, a very well-known MBA program, and then the biggest publisher of learning and performance and HR books in South Africa, maybe even Africa. They're the two that come together. So.
Okay.
I know that they have to put together substantial supporting documentation. You need to really show depth, and significant documents were handed over. I don't know exactly the detail, but I know that it's quite a process. So very humbled, very thankful, and very honored.
Okay, and so that means that actually it's not just enough to show what you've done, that your team is really showing what your department has accomplished.
Absolutely.
And so tell me a little bit about, what were some of your department's accomplishments where your team felt like, yes, we can nominate Alwyn for this?
That's exactly right. In fact, in one of the interviews that I had afterwards, I was honestly saying that I felt it was really a team recognition, that it should be a team award, because it's about what we've done together as a team. So at the time of me getting the award, we really had reached probably the pinnacle of seeing the results of a lot of what we'd been implementing over the previous 3 years. We had known that we wanted to go to a performance consulting model, and we were starting to see the value of that, some significant ROI. In one example, we calculated ROI to be over 2,000%. So we were seeing
Wow.
big results for
Mhm.
what we were doing. We moved to performance consulting, as I mentioned. We had implemented some of the best of breed thinking in some of the spaces.
So that's what we call here in the States best of class.
Best of class.
Okay, or best practice.
Best practice.
Okay.
So
But I'll remember the next time in
Best
South
of
Africa,
breed?
best of breed, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'd implemented a lot of Ruth Clark's evidence-based instructional design. We had a plan for what we were implementing next. In fact, to be honest, the two things we were implementing next, one was TDRP, the Talent Development Reporting Principles from the Center for Talent Reporting, as well as instructor-led participant-centered training.
Wow, I wonder where that might have come from.
Exactly. So we had this plan. We were just past middle of this plan, but we were now seeing the results. And in some instances, we were really seeing good results. So the team were getting certified at the same time. We literally had more dual certified people in the certified professional in learning and performance and the certified performance technologists than any company in the world that we know of. So we were aligning to these best practice models and frameworks, and then we were implementing.
No, you can still say best breed. Okay, so now you've introduced kind of a new concept, because yes, you are really committed to getting your people certified, but that really started with you. Now, you already had a master's degree, so what made you pursue certification, and what was that path like?
I guess there was two real things that happened. So around 2007, I was in a bit of a rut. I'd been a training manager for 3 or 4 years. I felt like I wasn't progressing. I felt like the 3 or 4 years was not progressive experience. I was getting 1 year experience 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to move beyond that. So I wanted to get very broad industry knowledge and experience and really expand my horizons. And I first chose to do the certification, the Certified Professional in Learning and Performance, the CPLP with ATD, because it gave me very broad focus. It focuses on all 10 areas of expertise in workplace learning and performance. So essentially an inch deep, but a mile wide.
Right.
So that really rounded me off. It gave me this industry-wide sense of knowledge and skill. And also it's updated regularly. You have to keep yourself updated. I like that. It kept me honest. It kept me true to my profession.
Yeah,
to
it's
keep
not
updating.
like, okay, you're now certified for life.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I like that thinking. especially in the corporate environment, because then you know your people are also developing themselves more and more. Once you've got the sort of mile wide, inch deep, I wanted to drill deeper into each of the areas of expertise one by one. And as our strategy was unfolding that I alluded to earlier, performance consulting, performance improvement was the next step for me. I wanted to drill deep. We wanted to implement solid performance consulting in our team. So it made sense to do the CPT. Again, aligning to best practice, best of breed models and frameworks. And I like to adapt and adopt.
Okay,
so
sure.
you need to understand them at a real depth before you can adapt them to your particular company's needs. And that was really the thinking. Most recently, my next drill down, my next mile deep was a couple of weeks ago, in fact. 3 of my colleagues and I were the first to be certified talent development reporting consultants.
Okay.
So now we're talking metrics and measurements.
You know, you're going to need a very big business card.
Yes, yes. And the truth is the letters aren't as important as the exposure. You're now getting exposed to these models, you're testing them, you're trying them in extreme environments because you have to submit for certification, which means you're doing them at a deep level. That's what I like about it.
Okay, and so not only did you take the time to do it, and actually we should probably put in a plug for Trish Ewell.
Yes.
Because especially with CPLP, I mean, she's called the CPLP coach, but she's really the CPLP maven. You know, there's probably no one that has helped more people achieve their CPLP, not only as painlessly as possible, although it's a very arduous process, but also very thorough, so that you're really gaining the knowledge. It's not just passing the test and passing the work product. You really have the feeling when you complete it with her guidance that, you know, I really have a grasp of this. And I think that's a real plus.
That's exactly right. The first 6 people to take the CPLP knowledge exam on the continent of Africa were from our team. And they did it with the help of Trish. Exactly. They did it with the help of Trish. The first 6 people to do that had a 100% pass rate with the help of Trish and with a work product.
Which is very rare. I mean, there's like only about a 50 or 60% pass rate the first time around on the knowledge exam.
Exactly. So we literally had a 100% pass rate. All 6 of the managers in my team that chose to do it were all successful. Thank you to Trish. I mean, she walked side by side with them. I will say that the process, and just this for the managers that are out there thinking about this for their team, the process for the team is amazing. It's the best team building I've ever seen. It created more engagement in those managers than I've ever seen before. They cried together, they laughed together, they helped each other up, they supported each other, and they went through this together. That was something that you can't put aside either.
Right. But that's also something that you created. It's not something that the certification itself creates. It's your choosing to say, okay, we're going to be a cohort in and of ourselves, and
yes,
you know, because it could have been 6 people just working on their own.
Yes, there is definitely value in having a good strategy, knowing what you're targeting. You know, we were targeting a broad set of skills. Then we were zooming in and doing a specific set of skills at a deep level. That strategy is imperative. Otherwise, you're just doing it to get the letters.
And so you had a number of your other managers that also got CPT.
Yes. So we 8 of the managers got CPT, and then 6 of those 8 chose to do CPLP.
Okay. So now we know CPLP is from ATD. Where does CPT come from?
CPT is the International Society for Performance Improvement, ISPI, and it's their certified performance technologist.
Okay.
Drills very deep into human performance technology, human performance improvement. Really made substantial impact in our business. Like I say, some of our case studies are showing, at the time anyway, they were showing 2,000% ROI, because now not only are you not training when training is not the right solution, but when training is part of the solution, you're still removing the other performance barriers.
So I've got another question, because you know, you accomplished all of that in South Africa, but now you live here in the United States.
Yes.
So how did that opportunity come about?
I got to a point in my career where I felt like I wanted to contribute to a lot of businesses rather than one business. And if I'm a little cheeky, I would say, you know, when you're in the corporate world, you start solving the same problems over, you know, you're faced with the same problems almost every day and over a period of time. I wanted to face new problems. I wanted to be exposed to new. So I knew that I wanted to move into the consulting world. And a fantastic opportunity came up with a company out of Chicago, Caveo Learning, that was really something I couldn't pass up. So 8,900 and something miles my family and I came across to be able to take this opportunity.
Okay, and you've now been with them about a year?
Almost a year, yes.
Okay, and so what was it? So what was it about your background? Because obviously Caveo could choose a lot of people here in the United States. So what was it that got you the opportunity, in your opinion? I mean, I could ask your boss, but
Yes, you could. It's a good question. I'd like to ask that question. I'm not sure, but I do think it had something to do with the fact that I really like to be creative in the learning space. I like to think of creative solutions to business problems. I like solving business problems. But the truth is, you know, if I'm honest, I'm like a Rottweiler. I don't know how you say that in America.
no, it's still Rottweiler.
Exactly, Rottweiler. I'm very focused on business results, and that's what this company does. They're extremely focused on increasing the performance of the business. So I think there was a strong alignment there between my personal values and the company values, and I would hope they picked that up.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, and I think that it's a big plus that you actually developed huge corporate wins internally, and you've equipped yourself with a broad set of skills that would help you externally as well. And you know, and obviously that's proving true. So tell me about your latest certification.
Certified Talent Development Reporting Consultant.
It's not as easy to say that as CPLP and CPT.
It's because it's so new. You got to get used to it. It doesn't roll off the tongue just yet. But our company, Caveo Learning, we focus on, I guess you could say, 4 areas of training, development, learning, performance. That is the strategy part, so all the different, you know, whether it's an overall strategy for an organization or a particular piece of strategy inside the learning team, the execution of that strategy, and then whether you need some capacity to help you deliver that and to help with that execution, or expertise. That's also one of the reasons I think that I chose to join them, was that they focus on all 4 of those things.
Okay.
So one of the areas of expertise that we've drilled down to, apart from a lot of others, but a particular one that we're focusing on, is the metrics and measurement space. They're a sponsor of the Center for Talent Reporting, and we realize that a lot of clients are out there asking and wanting to put together this kind of strategy.
Okay.
So how do you run your team like a business? How do you give appropriate measures that are going to give you meaning? You know, efficiency measures that are going to really tell you how to optimize your team. Effectiveness measures that tell you really what you're getting out of your learning solutions and your learning interventions. And then for me, what really caught my attention is metrics that really focus on the outcome. How are you as a learning organization contributing to the strategic business goals of the organization? Not how many people are in your training sessions, not how much money you spend per person, not how many hours per person, but how have those interventions impacted the business outcomes, the strategic business goals of that organization, and that I found exciting. So that's really what the focus was there.
You know, and that's something that I think a lot of learning and development functions internally have trouble with. I just did a 2-day certification on performance consulting here at the Training Magazine conference, and I was fortunate because I had 3 people that actually own businesses, one of whom from New Zealand emailed me and he said, I am not a trainer, but I think that performance consulting is important, and as part of my business, I do have a training division that does about $1 million a year. So I'm coming to learn how to do it. And it was interesting because he kept challenging the class, because I'd say, well, how do you measure this? And, you know, and they'd all have these training type answers. And, you know, and he would keep saying, you know, what's the business problem I'm trying to solve? What is that costing me? You know, and I think it really helped the entire class to sort of refocus and say, oh, okay, you know, we talk about that seat at the table, and I said, well, it's a CB principle of communications. If the business is on channel 9 and you're on training channel 7, you can talk all day long, and it's like they don't even hear you.
That's exactly right.
You can't train the business to get on channel 7. You know, you've got to get on channel 9.
Exactly. You're talking the language of the business now,
Yep.
and you're talking their metrics. You're having good discussions with your external stakeholders to say, how can we contribute to your metrics? And let's track that.
Yeah, and frankly, it has to be their metrics, because then they own it.
Exactly.
And it's what I call having a pain conversation. You know, if they don't believe that there's pain, but then beyond that, so it's like, okay, we got a problem with turnover. Okay, well, what's that kind? Well, I don't know. I just want to get rid of the turnover. And most trainers would just stop right there and say, okay, let's roll. And it's like, no, let's figure out, because if you suddenly realize that this is a $1 million headache, and now we reduce that by 50%, that has much more impact to you as the business owner of saying, okay, I just saved $500,000.
And that'll make you think twice the next time you want to cut the training budget when things are getting a bit tough, because you're seeing how training is contributing to the performance of the business.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, we've been talking with Alwyn Klein, CLO of the Year in South Africa, and I think he's given us some terrific insights. So this is Learning Leaders Live from the Training Magazine Conference, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, so just